What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing something a little different. This is not an unboxing, this is not a first impressions video. This is a 2-year real-world usage review of the AJAZZ AJ159 wireless gaming mouse. I have been using this thing almost every single day for 2 full years across gaming sessions, long work days, late nights, and everything in between. And I wanted to come back and give you an honest account of how it has held up, what has stayed great, what has worn down, and whether I would still recommend it to someone buying today. No fresh out of the box bias here, just 2 years of honest experience. Let's get into it. When I first picked up the AJ159 2 years ago, the thing that immediately stood out was just how light it felt. At 57 grams, built from high-end ABS injection molded material, it felt almost too light, like something was missing, but that feeling disappeared within the first hour of use. The rigidity of the frame was reassuring, the ergonomic shape settled into my palm naturally, and the PixArt 3395 sensor made every movement feel immediate and precise, with that 1000 Hz polling rate doing exactly what it promised. 2 years later, the physical shell of this mouse still feels remarkably solid. There is no creaking, no flex, no structural wobble that you sometimes start to notice in lighter mice after extended use. The ABS construction has genuinely held its shape, and the overall build integrity is something I was not fully expecting to still be praising at the 2-year mark. For a mouse at this price point, that kind of durability deserves to be acknowledged. The PixArt 3395 sensor is still performing exactly the way it did on day one, and that is honestly one of the most impressive things about this review. 2 years of daily use and the tracking has not degraded in any noticeable way. The wireless response still feels as fast as a wired connection. The 1000 Hz polling rate still reports movement cleanly and without hesitation, and whether I am pushing high sensitivity in fast-paced games or dialing it back to 400 dpi for precise work, the sensor handles both ends of that range without complaint. The 6 dpi presets, 400 in red, 800 in green, 1200 in blue, 1600 in cyan, 2400 in yellow, and 3200 in purple, are something I still use the color indicators for daily. It sounds like a small thing, but 2 years in, that instant visual feedback for your current sensitivity level is still genuinely useful and has never once felt gimmicky. The software customization for the full 100 to 26,000 dpi range still works cleanly as well, and all 5 programmable buttons have retained their mappings through every system update without needing to be reconfigured. The dual mode connection has been one of the most reliable parts of this mouse across the entire 2 years. The 2.4 GHz nano receiver has maintained a stable connection throughout. No random disconnections, no signal stuttering during intense gaming sessions, and the 10-meter effective range has held up accurately in practice. I have never once had a moment mid-game where I questioned whether the wireless connection was the problem, and that kind of reliability is something you only truly appreciate after living with a product long-term. The USB-C wired mode has also remained fully functional, and I still switch to it occasionally when charging, or when I want zero latency for something particularly competitive. The port itself has not loosened or degraded after 2 years of being plugged and unplugged regularly, which is worth mentioning. Compatibility across Windows versions and Mac OS has been seamless throughout as well. Not a single driver issue or system conflict in 2 years. The 400 mAh lithium-ion battery and the power management system are areas where the AJ159 has continued to genuinely impress me. The 2-stage hibernation system, light sleep after 10 seconds of inactivity, deep hibernation after 5 minutes, still kicks in reliably, and the wake response from both states is just as snappy now as it was when the mouse was brand new. The battery has not noticeably degraded in capacity over 2 years of regular charging cycles, which is a real credit to how the power management system protects it during daily use. Charging via the Type-C cable remains fast and convenient, and the fact that I can seamlessly drop into wired mode while charging means there has never been a moment where a low battery actually interrupted anything. For a wireless mouse, that continuity of use is something I genuinely took for granted at first and now consider one of its strongest qualities. The Huano PowderPoint microswitches rated for 80 million clicks are still performing with the same 0.68 Newton actuation feel they had on day one. The clicks are still light, crisp, and fast, and there is no mushiness or inconsistency that sometimes creeps into lesser switches after a year or two of heavy use. For both competitive gaming and long office work sessions, the click response has remained one of the most satisfying parts of using this mouse day to day. After 2 years of daily use, I have not noticed any meaningful degradation in the primary left and right click response, which, given the volume of clicks this mouse has absorbed, is a genuine testament to the durability of those switches. The 80 million click rating is clearly not just a marketing number, it is holding up in real-world conditions. Now, here is the part of this review I have been building toward. And I want to be completely honest about it because it is the most significant issue I have run into over 2 years of ownership. The scroll wheel is no longer working properly. It started gradually, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, where scrolling would occasionally skip a step or not register a full rotation cleanly. I initially wrote it off as dust or debris, cleaned it out, and thought that was the end of it. But the problem has progressively gotten worse. Now there are regular instances where scrolling up will register as scrolling down, where fast scrolling skips multiple positions unpredictably, or where the wheel simply does not respond to a rotation at all. For productivity work that relies heavily on scrolling through documents or browsing, it has become a genuine daily frustration. The fungus witch encoder that the scroll wheel runs on is rated for 1 million rotations, and given 2 years of heavy daily use, it is entirely possible that I have simply approached or exceeded that rated lifespan. That is not necessarily a defect, it is a wear threshold that the spec sheet is transparent about. But it does mean that for heavy users, the scroll wheel is likely to be the first thing that gives out on this mouse. And that is important information for anyone considering a long-term purchase. If scroll wheel longevity is critical to your workflow, that is a real consideration to weigh going in. On the ergonomics front, 2 years of long sessions have only reinforced how well thought out the shape of this mouse is. The palm fit has remained comfortable across marathon gaming nights and full workdays without generating the wrist strain that poorly designed mice tend to cause over time. The 57-gram weight, which felt almost startling when new, now just feels like the right weight, and going back to heavier mice for any length of time makes it immediately obvious why lightweight matters for sustained use. The 5 programmable buttons are all still fully functional, and have retained their programmed mappings reliably. The overall tactile feel of the mouse, the texture, the button resistance, the general handling, has not meaningfully changed from day one, which speaks to the quality of the materials used in the construction. So here is the honest 2-year verdict on the AJAZZ AJ159. This mouse has served me genuinely well. The PixArt 3395 sensor is still flawless. The wireless connection has never let me down. The battery management has been excellent. The primary switches are still crisp and reliable, and the build quality has held up better than I expected for the price. For the vast majority of its life, this has been a mouse I would recommend without hesitation. But the scroll wheel failing is a real issue, and I would be doing you a disservice if I glossed over it. It is the one component that has worn out ahead of everything else, and for a device you use every single day, a broken scroll wheel is not a minor inconvenience. It affects your entire workflow. Whether that pushes you toward the AJ159 or away from it depends entirely on how central scrolling is to the way you use a mouse. For pure gaming use where the scroll wheel is rarely critical, this mouse still earns a strong recommendation at its price point. For heavy productivity and browsing use, just know that the scroll wheel may be the limiting factor on its long-term lifespan. All in all, 2 great years, 1 wear point to watch out for. Links to current pricing are down in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. Drop a comment below if you have had a similar experience with yours, or if you have any questions about long-term use. Hit the like button, subscribe if you are not already, and I will see you in the next one.